All the high school football Week 3 stories have been written on this beautiful Football Friday night, and we've got all the narratives that you want to hear about from the North Central Ohio Gridiron coming up along the way right here and now on the Friday Night Pigskin presented by MTD Products in Shelby. My name is Brian Skronsky. I'm going to be steering this ship throughout the night, but I got plenty of help too. Check out all of our boys over here working super hard tonight, making sure that you get the highlights, the information, the statistics, all the knowledge that's going to be dropped on top of your noggins. It's going to be coming from that great looking group right over there. But right now, we're going to dive into the mind of a man that can just only be known as one word. And that's Will, baby. Eric Will is joining us again over here in the Coach's Corner. And Eric, what I want from you tonight, 3 weeks of football, tell me 3 things right now that you know are true.
Brian, I appreciate the fact you prepped me for this because I wouldn't want to just wing this. But I did come up with 3. I even threw in a bonus for you, so we'll see what we get here.
I love bonuses.
The first thing I came up with is that Mansfield is a true legitimate contender to win the OCC. I think after that win tonight, because instead of going directly west and playing Lima Senior, they played North Canton Hoover, who I think is a better team, a little bit better program right now, also playing Division II.
Yeah.
For them to have the second half comeback win that they did, I think was unbelievably impressive, so I like them. The Firelands Conference, it continues to be extremely competitive. I don't think we're going to know who's going to win that league until Week 10. And I could actually see multiple teams winning this between Crestview, St. Paul, Plymouth, Western. They're all good. They can all stake claim to that conference. And then this one was a direct result of tonight. I think that what we saw was there's only been one team that's been able to truly expose what is a potential weakness, in my opinion, for Shelby, and that would be the line play, both sides, offense and defensive lines. And if you're going to beat Shelby, you're not going to out-athlete them, and that's not what happened tonight. Bellevue did a nice job of winning the war of attrition up front, both sides. I know there were turnovers and drops and other things like that, but if you can get Shelby into one of those slobber knock type games, you might be able to pull one out against them. Now, the caveat to that is I don't know if anybody else on the schedule, and specifically in the MOAC, can do what Bellevue did tonight. So I think Shelby's still going to be in really good shape. My bonus is Lucas is Lucas. You know, when you watch them play, they had injuries. Their quarterback suffered an injury. I don't know what the status on that is, but he was kind of in a boot tonight, so I don't know how long he's out. But what did they do? They come back and they throw up a 37 or 38 spot tonight, and they had the running clock, and they're just you can see that they're tracking to a regional championship game. And then the last thing with that is going back to the Shelby-Bellevue game. I think what we learned tonight is Storm's going to quit doing predictions. I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, he's beating himself up maybe a little bit too much.
Hey, listen, it's good TV, Storm.
Yeah, we're looking forward to having Storm on set, and we do have tissues. We got a whole box of Kleenex waiting for him when he does arrive here, Eric. But first, let's get the people in the know now about all the scores, all the finals from around the area. And we'll begin in that conference that you were talking about, all the parity in the Firelands. A lot of teams potentially could win this sucker at the end of the season, and we'll show you why. A lot of teams playing some good football, tons of wins up there, and you see undefeated Western Reserve still at this point. Same thing when you start looking at the likes of Plymouth and St. Paul too. Crestview potential as well to be 3-0. So you're looking at half of the conference could be undefeated heading into Week 4.
So what did they do? You know, we used to break up our season into 3 components. So your non-conference, your conference, and then the playoff run. Well, 4 of these teams, if Crestview takes care of business tomorrow, which, by the way, is not going to be easy because that East Knox game is going to be a dandy. That's going to be a game you're going to want to watch right here on the OH report tomorrow night because that's going to be a great game. But if Crestview would happen to get out of that one, that means 4 teams in the league have taken care of the first phase of that operation. So Western Reserve, fantastic. And I even think Monroeville has an opportunity to have a say in it as well as South Central. Because South Central's putting points up. They're just having a hard time stopping people.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I see that Plymouth, I mean, they're getting touchdowns from a variety of
Yeah.
people. Shea Sparks, that's their stud. That's their bell cow. He had 2 more touchdowns tonight. Trace McVeigh, Clayton Miller both scored 2. But I think the big game out here, obviously, is that East Knox-Crestview game. Who you got? You want to make a quick prediction?
I'll tell you what. I'm not going to go against Crestview right now. To be honest with you, I don't know if I'm as well schooled on East Knox as I should be. I like Crestview. I like their attitude. I will say this. We're going to see that size versus hopefully speed and explosion. East Knox does have the size to move some bodies. If it turns into a fist fight, I don't know if that favors Crestview, but I'm going to go ahead and predict Crestview. I think that's how much I think of the Firelands Conference this year, but I wouldn't be surprised either way. I would be surprised if a blowout one way or the other, but I can definitely see this one coming right down to the wire.
Well, I'm a little bit siding right now with those Bulldogs. I know that me and Garrett Parlett, we're going to have a bet going down tomorrow. We're going to be calling the game, and we'll put a little something at stake. Let's move on to the KMAC. Speaking of those East Knox Bulldogs, and here's the other teams. Centerburg did not get to compete tonight due to some COVID problems going on there, so that's the team, the defending champion in the conference, sidelined unfortunately for them. But River Valley UC picks up a win over Highland. We'll talk more about them when we get to the MOAC scores. So really, when you start looking out here, Northmore's 3-0. Centerburg, we think, is a really good team. And then maybe emerging Fredericktown, they've at least won 2 in a row after Clear Fork took care of them. But maybe this conference a bit more top-heavy than we thought after the first week.
I would agree with you. And Centerburg, obviously, not, that's kind of the unknown as well. But if I were picking this conference right now, I would actually go with East Knox. I really like the Bulldogs in this conference. So they have something to definitely bark about. But you're right. I think that the top 2 or 3 teams are going to be, it's going to battle out. But I like East Knox. I like their pedigree. I like what they've been doing the last 2 or 3 years. I think that they're groomed for this really well.
And Northmore, I think, proving to be a contender. The fact they got a shutout win on the road tonight, I do like that. 25-0 over Bucyrus. And I know K-Mac Trav over here pumping his fist. He loves his Golden Knights. All right, let's move on to that MOAC. And we can talk a little bit more about River Valley now. So, last week we were talking about maybe is this a one-team race? Is Shelby clearly in the driver's seat? They lost a tough game on the road tonight that we have highlights for. I can't wait till you guys see this and see Storm's reaction. Ontario picking up their first win. Clear Fork comes from way back, Eric. They had a nice comeback win tonight. That actually occurred in overtime as well. But River Valley is the most interesting team to me because they're 3-0, but the road hasn't been that hard of travel for them. Where do you see them kind of fitting into the equation?
Well, going into at the beginning of this year, I picked them to be right there neck and neck with Shelby. I thought that gap had closed, but just the struggles, like we said, with Upper Sandusky and Madison earlier in the year had me kind of scratching my head a little bit. I didn't know if things were going on, injuries. You never know what's going on with a team. So I still think Shelby's the cream of the crop. I don't think there's anybody in the MOAC that's a Bellevue type player. I think for me, this game tonight with Shelby was more of a regional thing as opposed to a league thing, if that makes sense. I think that I like the Donaldson kid for Galion, but I don't know if they're going to have enough to go with him when they start getting into league play. Here's what I like about Clear Fork. Coach Carroll does a great job building programs, and he's got a sophomore class that's buying into his culture.
Loaded.
And to be down the way that they were down, a lot of teams would have been knocked out. I mean, that's kind of one of those things. You're within a score or 2 of a running clock. Not only do they come back and send it to overtime, but they get the dub. That's a big-time confidence builder, shot in the arm for a bunch of young guys down there in down there in the valley, man. I really like Dave Carroll. I actually think that could end up being that Week 10 game. Who knows? Maybe Clear Fork's going in there and they're riding a big wave of momentum, because I don't know too many teams in the league that are necessarily going to give Clear Fork any more than anybody else would be able to take. So I still like River Valley. I'm going to be interested to continue to follow them as this thing moves on, but I still do believe it's Shelby's league. I don't think tonight's indicative of what you're going to see come league play.
So that's the MOAC. Moving on now to the Northern 10 Conference, where to me, this does feel like it's starting to shape up to be a little bit of a two-team race between Colonel Crawford and the Blue Devils of Cary, who look great again tonight. They roll against the Toledo Wait team, who hadn't played yet, but they do play well. Buckeye Central, a bit of a surprise team to me, 2-1 on the season, but the cream certainly has already risen to the crop, I think. And Crawford, boy, they've been flexing. I did not expect this from them through 3 weeks.
I agree with you. I knew they were going to be good. I knew they would be at the top of the league. Coach Teglovic's always done a nice job down there. The biggest surprise out of this might even be Winford. Coach Hilbert's a great coach, but just they're just struggling to have an offensive identity. I think they're only average like 178, 180 yards a game right now. Defensively, they're kind of struggling a little bit too. And you're going to have that. The run they've had, they are a
not mistaken. Crawford, of course, the defending champs, looking like they just might win it again here in 2021. On to the OCC we go, and how about the comeback from the TY Tigers on the road? According to my man John Davis, it's the first time in 61 years that a Mansfield senior team has won in the city of Canton. They beat McKinley back in 1960, Eric, way before our times. And what is so outrageous to me about looking at the stat line for this, Tigers had negative 41 rush yards in this, so I can't wait to see the highlight and see how that worked out. Worcester, a winner on the road, a nice win too for them, having to go and take on Louisville like that. And then you look at Ashland, 0-3 again for the second straight year.
Yeah, a bit of a surprise because we know how Ashland finished the year last year. I mean, they were kind of on fire. They finished really strong. I thought that we'd get a little bit more from them, although I do think that their competition's playing into that as well. It's kind of funny. We've talked about teams that we feel like haven't played a Gauntlets row yet. I think that Ashland has. Taze Valley is actually a pretty good program. They have tremendous size. Looking at if Lexington could have held off Clear Fork, man, that could have made things interesting. But how about Worcester always finding a way to win as well against a nice program, and West Holmes is what we thought they were going to be. West Holmes is really, really good. Love their stable of running backs. And then you look at Mansfield. Mansfield had a key goal line stand in that game to preserve this victory, and that's what it takes. It takes all three of those levels. It takes that offense, defense, and special teams. They do have to get the running game figured out. I think that could be an Achilles heel as they go through the year. I think they and Shelby might even have a similar issue. I think their aerial attack's pretty good. I don't think either one of them do a great job of I just don't think that's in the cards for them this year. But will they play someone that can exploit it, if that makes sense? Because as soon as you become extremely one-dimensional, even though you do that well, there is a point in time where you have to be able to run the football a little bit, or vice versa. If you're Lucas and you run the football, are you going to play a team that's going to eventually make you have to complete a pass in a big situation? It works both ways, no matter what type of offense you want. Balance doesn't mean 50-50, Brian. It just means that do you have the ability to have the threat to run the football or to pass the football? And you can't be negative 41 or no one's going to respect that ground game. So, but I do like Mansfield to be a huge play in West Holmes. Next week, Brian, we're there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited about that. Number one, I love Arlen. Arlen's one of the coolest things. I haven't been there since they finished up the cleanup and all the power washing and the concrete and all that, the new lights and all that stuff. So I'm ready to get down there and see the TY Tigers. Hey, 3-0. Hey, Mansfield, come on out. I want to see a monster crowd. I want to see an old school, like when I flip on the TV and you're seeing reruns of Mansfield play and there's 8,300 people in the stands. I want to see that type of atmosphere down at Arlen Field because I think this team deserves it, and I think that this game deserves it because I might even say this might be the conference championship.
I think the winner on next Friday will actually go on to determine who is going to be the conference champion, and we're going to have that for you live and free. But like to your point, man, you can always go back and you can watch the replay on the Facebook and the YouTube. Get out to Arlen Field, check that game out, Tigers fans. That is going to be a good one. And that is all the scores from around the area that we have for you guys from the 5 conferences that we cover. So when we come back, we put it out there. We let you, the community, decide the top play of the week and the Friday Night Phenom. All the votes are calculated. They are finals. Last week we had Centerburg and Centerburg run away with it. Are we going to get Trojans and Trojans again this week? We are going to find out on the other side. We're going to say goodnight to Eric Will. Appreciate him coming on each and every week, dropping some knowledge. Woo! Good times. Yeah, good times, baby. All right, we're going to step away and we're going to be right back with those and then highlights on the way.
Headquartered in Valley City, Ohio, MTD Products is a leader in the outdoor power equipment industry. We create products that help consumers build memories. Whether it's inspiring people to care for a public garden or enjoy their backyard with family and friends, community is at the heart of what we do at MTD Products. We're looking for people who want to be a part of our future and who are dedicated to cutting-edge product innovation and outstanding customer service. We'll provide you with the necessary tools for success in your career at MTD and help inspire people to care for and enjoy the outdoors around the world.
Back here on the Friday Night Pigskin, presented by MTD Products. We're all about winners here on the OH Report, so it's time to reveal to you who the Week 2 winners were for both the top play of the week and the Friday Night Phenom. As I mentioned before the break, Centerburg, a clean sweep last week. Who would step up to the occasion as a fan base this go around? Well, we'll tell you for the Phenom, the Trojan Nation, once again, they are out there, they are doing their thing, and so was this guy, Tyler Johnson. It wasn't even close, just like how he got into the end zone there, and nobody was able to touch him. This kid had more than double the votes of the number 2 vote getter, that being Marshall Shepard of Shelby, and then he had more combined than Shepard and everybody else that finished in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Unbelievable performance by Johnson in a big win over Grandview Heights, so congratulations, 2 weeks in a row. Your Friday Night Phenom comes from the same school. The only reason that they're not going to have it 3 weeks in a row probably is because they didn't get to play tonight. Oh, well. All right, the top play of the week, it came down to a very, very tight race between Derek Lonsway, Gavin Miller, and Andre Hill. But after we tallied up all the votes by just a 5-vote gap, Andre Hill is your winner for this one-handed snare right here. You ready for it? Check this out. Shepard rolls out and whoop! Just needed the one hand to bring it in. Big win against Lexington too, so congratulations to both of those winners for doing some fantastic things on Friday nights. Let's get on to the highlights now, and our first highlight of the night is going to come from this gentleman over to my right. It was one of our featured games, live and free. The Winford Royals on the road against the Lucas Cubs. A lot of us here in the area had projections that this was going to be a great game. 2 top-notch small schools going toe-to-toe from one conference over to the next county, next to county. Kind of turned out to be a one-sided affair.
Yeah, but, I mean, in the end, did you expect anything less from the Lucas Cubs? Just the way they've run roughshod over teams not named Warren JFK or Marion Local over the past few years. I mean, Lucas, first game at home at Baum-Wyman Field, first game at home in 2 years with a full capacity. You got the fireworks, you got the music blaring, you got the WMAN crew and myself in the treehouse, which thanks again to Lucas. We'll have that all year for Lucas Cubs games, the treehouse, beautiful setting, and it was just a great game for the Cubs. It was a great night to be a Cubs fan, and I hope they're at the community center watching this while they're watching the replay, because you know they're having their pizza and enjoying that. But let's show you the highlights if you were unable to see it live and free. Lucas hosting Winford as the two faced off for the first time since 2012, Brian.
Oh, wow.
And the Cubs, they came to play. Coming out of that tunnel like they always do to a great atmosphere. First drive for them, Zane Finley's going to muscle his way in from 3 yards out. It is 7-0. Next drive, and Andrew Finello takes the bread and butter running back reverse, and he is off to the races. 52 yards to pay dirt. Nope, not going to catch him. It's 14-0 Cubbies. But wait, there's more. Next drive, and Grant Barrett gets in on the action, bursts open a hole up the middle and takes it in from 19 yards out. Cubbies up 28-0 at the half.
Wow.
Second half, we got to give the kicker some love. Aiden Kreider from 33 yards away, right down the middle. He was 4 on 4 on extra points as well for the brand. Start of the fourth, and Winford strikes big. Colby Allen rolls out and finds James Schieffer down the sideline, reaches for the pylon, and he is in. It's 31-8. But to finish out the scoring, it's the big man, Zane Finley, hitting the circle button right there.
Spark plug!
Man is rumbling to the end zone, 27 yards. Light off the fireworks, Lucas. Your boys are 3-0. Once again, they knock off Winford 38-7.
Is there a better setting in all of high school football for a small school than at Bob-Lyon Field? Let's be honest. The fact that they didn't get to play home games there last year until the playoffs, well, what a travesty, Travis. It's great to see it back, and great to see that rushing attack. They have such a dynamic, about 3-4 guys back there that can all tote the rock. Tell the folks at home a little bit more about them.
Well, a man named Andrew Finello, 21 carries, $164 and a touchdown. Grant Barrett, 19 carries, 82 yards, touchdown. Oh, and then Zane Finley, our player of the game, 2 big touchdowns, over 50 yards rushing, over 300 yards total for the squad.
That's so cool. Zane Finley, I've been knowing him since he was a tiny little guy working in MMA gyms and wrestling, and he's always been one of the hardest working people that I've ever known. So really cool to see my guy Sparkplug get the player of the game. I'm going to have to see that interview. And then the defense, too. You said you were impressed with the Cubs, right?
Really impressed with the Cubbies' defense. Lucas gave up only 103 total yards through 3 quarters, and then the passing game got going for Winford as they got 79 yards passing in the fourth, 182 total yards still through 4 quarters of football. Now, we did have the running clock for a little bit, but still, Lucas doing a very good job on defense, but do you expect anything less from them?
It's a great point. Scott Spittler, he's got that engine roaring out there, baby. They just keep loading it up week
and that's
after
the
week.
funny thing. They keep graduating top running backs, top linemen, top quarterback, top wide receiver. One of their best defensive players is out with a broken leg, Logan Toms. So hope you can get back quick. He was in a cast on the sidelines tonight, but they just keep reloading, and they're still just this good. They're a state-ranked team once again. They're probably going to make a run again this year, and I am just excited to see that Lucas Cub Nation is able to come out and actually watch their Cubbies play, because they deserve it. Both sides. The fans deserve to see this team play, and this team deserves to have fans in the stands.
And maybe the coolest thing, I know they got their little wrinkles and stuff out there, but they're a team, they know that they're like backyard barbecue, man. They're low and slow. They grind you out every single year. They don't change much up.
Blue collar.
They don't throw any like Chinese in there. They just stick with what they know, and that's low and slow, baby. And just RPO. All right. That's enough for the Cubs for tonight. They're 3-0 on the season. The Ashland Arrows, a little bit different fate. They fell to 0-3, Trav. Let's go ahead and roll the highlights. They hosted Tees Valley tonight. We will show you how they dropped their 3rd in a row to open up the season. Here they are, though, coming out the tunnel, and you thinking it's going to be a great night at home. Kick things off with a kick. 24-yard field goal here from Cale Clifton.
You and I know that's not hard. That's pretty hard to do.
Way harder than it looks like on your screen. This pass going deep, and wow, on the other end, 68 yards later, it's Harrison Payne getting into the end zone. So it's going to be a 10-0 deficit for the Arrows pretty early in this contest. But Ashland would get some things rolling. Caden Spott's going to get into the end zone here.
Nice effort.
Touchdown run gets the Arrows a little bit closer, and you thought that it was going to be a game, but Tees Valley just a little bit too much on this night. 6-yard touchdown run here from Camden McDaniel. The Arrows really just never were able to find a consistent answer defensively. Tees Valley just kept getting it into the zone, but the Arrows would answer. It's going to be Spots again, and I like that move, being able to shake off the defender in the backfield and truck his way into the end zone. And that was just 1 minute later after that McDaniel touchdown. But then this is the play of the game. 60-yard halfback pass.
Completely bid on that, too.
Yeah.
2 wide receivers were open on that.
That's Grayson Sturry. That is going to be our play of the game nominee, but just not enough for the Arrows as they go down on this night. 23-20, your final score. Tees Valley comes in and gets a win. And for Ashland, it's a tough thing to process and watch because you know they're going to have talent. They always have a big collection of guys that come out for the team every single year. You know they're well coached. They're playing a tough schedule, but just a slow start. We saw 2 years ago, I believe they come out the gates 0-5.
Yeah, we were
had a
talking
great
about this
year
earlier,
last year. So for Ashland, you don't want to count them out in the OCC race, but for them and these kids, I bet it's tough, and also for that community to see them come out at an 0-3 start, Trav, just because all the pieces are in place. They're just not fitting together perfectly right now.
Yeah, 2 tough losses at home, and in that Clyde game, that really surprised me. Them getting shut out for the first time since 2008.
Wow.
So to see them bounce back and be competitive, that's a plus.
I think
after
so.
that. But, you know, they just got to get going. They just have to continue to get going and to continue to get better because, I mean, coaches don't like it, but 16 teams make the playoffs. You only need a couple wins. Like I was saying to you guys earlier, Mansfield Senior with that big win at Canton Hoover, they're pretty much locked into a playoff spot already.
Amazing.
Congratulations, Tigers, and shout out Coach Adams watching right now.
Let's go.
But for Ashland, they just need to continue to get better, and they need to just get hot at the right time because you get into the playoffs, you want to be at least, if you start off 0-3, you want to be in that middle spot. You don't want to be a 16, 15, 14 because you're going to go up against a powerhouse school. But if you want to be 8-9 seed, you can still get there. That's still doable for them. 7-3, you can get a high seed like that. Maybe get a home game as an 8 or 7 seed, but they just have to keep going, have to keep getting better, and maybe they'll get hot at the right time.
That's right. All right, we'll see if they become a contender in the OCC as things roll along. A team that did get it together after a tough loss last week, the Galion Tigers, and our guy Garrett Parlett was there to see them take on Upper Sandusky, and a little bit different looking Tigers team, so you think that maybe Matt Dick might have watched the show last week, made a couple of coaching strategy changes based on what we saw, and you thought they looked like a little bit more all-around better Tiger football team.
Yeah, Brian, they went to the QB system, the 2 QB system with Cooper Kent, the backup QB. A little bit better of a passer than Hanif Donaldson, but they still got it to Hanif. You got to with that kind of an athlete on the field. So it was a great game, but let's show the highlights and really see what happened between Galion and Upper Sandusky. But Galion would really tame Upper Sandusky all night long. There was a slow first half, Brian, 10-0 after the first 2 quarters, but here Cooper Kent, as I mentioned, would hit Landon Campbell on the score. And shout out to kickers tonight, man. They've been making a lot of kicks, and Jackson Hart would make one of his own. Just got it through the uprights. That would be 10-0 after the first half, Brian. And this is going to be the play of the game nominee, Hanif Donaldson, making almost every defender miss on the field. I mean, he stopped on the punt return touchdown for Galion. So this dude is a heck of an athlete. This would make it 17-0 in favor of Galion. On the next possession for Galion, Sam Wiseman would take it up the gut, and he dives in the end zone here, takes a body with him, and that would be 24-0 in favor of the Tigers. And this would be the icing on the cake, Brian. Pick 6 into the back of the zone for Carson Frankhouse, and it would be Galion all night long as they would move to 2-1 before MOAC play next week.
That's some tasty icing to put slathered on top of that cake, man, with the big victory, the pick 6. I like that, but it was all about that 2-quarterback system. G, how did you see it working out? Why did it work for this team?
I really like the way they implemented it. They didn't just stick with one quarterback the whole time. They would flip-flop it at almost every other possession. Hanif Donaldson would take a few QB powers, a few read options, and then they would get him the ball on bubble screens and deep passes. So Cooper Kent, obviously the better passer, he looked pretty good tonight. Galion, man, if they can really get things going, their defense picked it up tonight too. They might be a scary team. I don't know if they're going to be able to tempt with a Shelby, but they might be able to pick up a few wins in the MOAC.
Talk more about that defense. I understand they were able to get after the quarterback and just create some havoc, make things tough on Upper Sandusky.
Yeah, Landon Campbell for Galion had 2 sacks tonight, and he, of course, they had the pick 6. So Galion, the defense got going. They obviously shut out Upper Sandusky, which isn't one of the better squads in the area, but still a shutout is a shutout. So the defense is beginning to follow the offense. The offense has been there with Hanif Donaldson and a few other athletes, but the defense is finally catching their stride here.
2-1, and they've been competitive every week, if not winning by big margins like they did tonight. You mentioned you think they're good, but maybe not on a Shelby level. Where do they fit into the MOAC equation, in your opinion?
Well, they got River Valley up next, and River Valley obviously has had an up-and-down season so far. So that's really going to be, I think, the biggest test of the year so far for Galion. Can they hang with River Valley, even though they've had a rough season as well? They kind of both have been up and down. So I think that's going to be the first test, and really to see if Galion can hang with one of these schools. Is Coach Matt Dick at the post-game in front of his players, he's like, MOAC competition is up, so it's time to go. And I'm sure he's going to have his players ready, and maybe they go back to that 2 QB system. I'm sure they're going to, because it worked tonight.
All right, appreciate it, G-Man. Good stuff. And speaking of the MOAC, a team going on the road tonight into OCC territory, Clear Fork versus Lexington, and this one was a crazy game. Storm, I know that you got to cover Lexington early in the season, so I'm going to have you jump on the mic with me for this one. Let's go ahead and roll those moving pictures. We'll show you guys how it all played out over in Minutemen country. You didn't think it was going to go well for Clear Fork at first, and then eventually they would get their act together. Here it comes. Nope, that's just me. Here I come. Hey, how we doing out there, guys? So maybe we can just tell you about the game, if that's the route that we need to go. I know that Lexington looked dominant. They were really, really good early, Storm, and you've seen this team in person with your own eyes. The run game, strong, man. They got a couple of guys that can get it done for them. They were able to do that early in this one before falling off. Is that something that maybe is not surprising to you? The fact that they were able to turn out some yards, but then they allowed a big comeback to a Colts team that's young, but they got some speed.
No, definitely not. I mean, you got Green and Barry in the backfield for Lexington. I mean, when you have 2 guys who you can pretty much give it to at any time, you keep the legs fresh, you keep guys going, 100%. Didn't surprise me at all. I think Lexington's a very solid squad, despite what happened to them week 2 versus Shelby. I think they're a great squad, but a little surprised about the comeback. Normally Lexington, a team who their motor really carries them through in that game at Shelby. They didn't give up, no matter what the score was. They didn't give up. So a little surprising that they would actually take their foot off the gas and let up a little bit of a comeback.
I think maybe even more surprising the fact that for Clear Fork, they're such a young team that they were able to get behind early on the road and then battle their way back into the game. 35-28. They ended up coming away with the victory in overtime. And I'm told we got the highlights. Here they come. We'll show you how they did it, folks. Well, as mentioned, Lexington started off very strong in the first half, getting into the end zone twice. And there's one of those running backs that you alluded to. There's Barry breaking off big runs, no surprise then. And then getting after the quarterback too. Victor Skoog, the youngster, getting blown up. But how about the Colts? Playing a little bit of defense of their own. Dave Carroll switches some things up. He's like, hey, we got to do something different, boys. Victor, just run with it. Maybe toss it if you get the opportunity. Making some nice completions on the outside. But again, early in this game, it was a little bit more about the Minutemen and their offense. And here's the running game. Working to perfection. Barry making some people miss, getting into the open field. He's going to take it in for a big touchdown. The first half would end with Lexington on top 28-6. You would think that they'd be super confident in the second half, but oh no, those pesky Colts, they just kept hanging around like they had alligator blood, man. You just couldn't get them out of the game. Barry suddenly didn't have any room to run, and then this was a big touchdown pass late in the contest. They would force overtime, and then the Colts would go on to win it. So that's how they did it, man. Good stuff. All right, so the highlight of the night, folks. Storm, I know that you had a nice long drive back. You were kind of processing life and just overall what you saw tonight. Shelby versus Bellevue. Break it down for me. What happened out there?
Yeah, had to make some phone calls, had to talk some things over about how I was going to approach this one tonight. Had some Bellevue coaches say some things to me, 60 burger, things like that. So, Bellevue, I hear you. You're out there watching, and you played a heck of a game. Here I am admitting I was wrong, eating my humble pie live on camera for you guys. So, I was wrong. But if we break it down right into those highlights, I'll explain how it happened. And, a big game here tonight, like you said, highlight of the night. And, of course, who else starting things off but Marshall Shepard. Short touchdown pass. They would miss the PAT, unfortunately, making it 6-6. And this is where the back-and-forth battle would start. Both teams trading blows like on this long TD run from Bellevue to put them up. Then the Redmen once again rumbling their way into the end zone. And look at the second effort, just dragging defenders into the end zone across the plane to score. Up next, Blaine Bowman showing off the wheels, flying past defenders on a 52-yard scamper to the back of the end zone. And that would be the first of many as we see some deja vu here. Once again, Shepard connects with his partner in crime, Blaine Bowman, for a short 7-yard TD. Redmen scoop and score later. Shepard once again, 3-step drop back, finds his buddy in the end zone. One more time. Here we go, and a heck of a game there from Blaine Bowman. I believe he had 3 or 4 touchdown passes. Bellevue would drive down the field, after this. Blaine Bowman touchdown pass, another one. Camera lost a little bit of focus, but Bellevue wouldn't lose focus. Look at that cheese right there, bouncing off of players. That was a 2-point conversion to make it a 1-point game. Then Bellevue would extend their lead on that big touchdown. A couple scores later, this would be the play of the night. Shepard drops back, flushed out to the right side, throws one to the end zone, and it's picked off for the Whippets. First interception of the season. So, heartbreaking fashion, to end it like that. But it was a heck of a game. I believe there was under 40 seconds left when Shepard threw that interception. Wow. So it was one heck of a game from both squads.
And from what I heard from some folks that were at the game, and then Eric was also telling me too, that Marshall Shepard played like the game of his life other than that interception. If not for that, had he led them back, he said it was just a really heroic effort. Touch a little bit more on what Marshall did and just his overall confidence and ability to run the offense, because they still dropped 40 on him.
I mean, he's still that guy. I don't think anyone can doubt that. He's still the best quarterback in the area, far and away, in my opinion. And then, I'm going to reel the opinions back here. Like I said, eat my humble pie earlier, but far and away the best quarterback in the era, Marshall Shepard. He has nothing to hang his head on. Through 3 games, that's his first interception, and I think for over 15 touchdowns. I mean, wow. It does not get much better than that.
Well, for Shelby, it is a loss, though, on the road against a dreaded rival that they've been playing each other for a long, long time. You feel like it's kind of time to ring the alarm for them, a little bit of a wake-up call, or was just this 2 good teams going at it and somebody had to lose?
No, not at all. I think you hit it right on the nose right there. Just 2 good teams. Someone had to lose. Very unfortunate that someone had to lose, because I think tonight there weren't very many other teams that could compete with either of these teams. Bellevue played a heck of a game. Their run game was phenomenal. Their front line, phenomenal. They had a lot of good things to take away, and so did Shelby. Their passing game, like normal. They did have a couple more drops than normal, but I mean, when you got a dude who can do it like Marshall Shepard, you're going to be just fine.
So what did Bellevue do right then? We think that Shelby's pretty loaded outside of maybe, the offensive front might have some problems. They might have got worn out up there. Is that about right?
I think that was about it. It was just kind of a battle in the trenches, and it just happened to go Bellevue's way. It was a great officiated game. I'd like to throw that out there. There weren't a lot of blown calls, and at the high school level, you kind of see that a little bit more often than not, but it was a great officiated game. It was just Shelby kind of got blown up at the line, and that's how Bellevue took it home.
Ontario got a big win tonight, their first of the season, but they got to play the Whippets next week, so maybe that's a good time for them to get healthy again and probably put up, quite a few points, even though I know that you're kind of out the prediction game now.
Yeah, I think this loss right here kind of shook me a little bit. Think I'm good with the predictions. However, I will say I think Shelby's going to come out and get a good bounce-back win.
All right. Thanks a lot, Storm. Appreciate it, man. And don't feel bad. Everyone out there still loves you over in Shelby country. And those Bellevue coaches just, I'm sure they're watching.
I don't know if I'm going to be allowed back at Skiles. I don't know, Brian.
I think they'll accept you back, Storm. Don't worry. All right, good stuff, bro. All right, our final highlight of the night is going to take us all the way over to Canton, where the TY Tigers were on the road, had a tough game against Hoover. And we have got some highlights, and by we, I mean myself and Travis Berardi, who is going to be joining me. We're going to show you how the Tigers went to 3-0.
Before we get there,
but
helping out Storm here,
yeah,
Bellevue still gave up 40.
Yes, they did.
Shelby gave up 4. Both teams almost gave up a 60 burger. So before you go into Storm's face saying 60 burger, you almost still gave up a 60 burger. Might want to back that up a little bit. Good win for Bellevue. I look to see these two teams maybe in a regional final the way they've been playing this year. Never know. It'd be nice to see the rematch in a regional final or a semifinal. But hey, back off on the 60 burger because it almost happened for both sides.
Thanks, Travis.
Now let's go to these highlights of probably the game of the night at North Kent and Hoover. Hoover, they're going to kick a 42-yard field goal to start things off, but we're going to skip through that still for the brand. Brock Hill is going to find Jayonte O'Brien 22 yards. Oh, took a lick, but he still held on and got across the line. Touchdown, Mansfield senior. Move to the North Canton ensuing kickoff. This is going to be Xander Bugara. And if you see a kickoff return on a highlight, it's probably going to be for a touchdown. 74 yards to the house.
And the Tigers even tried to squib it.
Yeah. 10-7 North Canton Hoover at that point. And then they're going to add on. Luke Roach, 29 yards, gets through the hole, and then he takes off. Afterburners, touchdown, 17-7 North Canton Hoover. Tigers look like they may be in trouble, but wait. Brock Hill has something to say about that. A little screen pass to Miles Bradley, and he is going to do the rest, breaking a tackle, going 80 yards to pay dirt. Mansfield Senior has life, and you see the sideline. They are pumped. It is 17-14. And then the Tigers, you see them, Bradley, he deserves the water break.
Get that water.
Little trickery coming this way. We got the double pass. Amar Davis going to find Bradley once again, and he is wide open. Jukes one man out, and he is gone. Mansfield takes the lead. 60-yard touchdown pass. But North Canton Hoover, 5 seconds left. After getting stopped on the goal line once, they have one more chance. But Jayonte O'Brien knocks it down. Mansfield Senior with the big win, and like I said earlier, that's got to be a clinching victory for the playoffs. I know there's 16 teams. I know it's only week 3. The Mansfield Senior Tigers, that is a huge win for them, especially only knowing that this game was going to happen for about 6 days. For them to bounce back like that, Chokey Bradley and company, Coach Adams, you're watching, that is a heck of a win. That is a huge win for the Tigers, and I am pumped, as you can see, because that goes to next week, 3-0 versus 3-0, the de facto OCC championship, in my opinion, them versus West Holmes, and big win led by Miles Bradley, 7 tackles, but he also had 4 catches, a $155 and 2 tutties.
Yeah, huge win, and I bet that makes Worcester's skin just crawl here in de facto championship in week 4 between West Holmes and Mansfield Senior.
Sorry, Worcester, but they may have that. But I'm just Mansfield Senior. They just keep getting better week in and week out, and just so impressive how they were able to bounce back after being down 17-7. To score the last 2 times, and then 2, not 1, but 2 goal line stands late in the game. That's just huge for the momentum. That defense is getting better. The offense is getting better. The line looks like it's getting better. But, you throw in a little trickery. Mansfield Senior, they got that trick.
Yeah.
They get the big touchdown. They get the big win. And that's just a big momentum boost. And I said big a lot in this highlight.
Well, yeah, it was a big win, Travis, on the road, of course. And, you love the playmakers that they have. And the defense we know is solid. But let's talk about the big, fat, ugly gorilla in the room. Negative 41 yards of rushing for Mansfield Senior. So they can't run the football right now unless it is Brock Hill. Last week they were able to get a little bit of something going against Marion Harding. They had a couple guys get involved in the running game, but do you see that being a problem for them when they do start playing some more teams that are of their caliber with athletes that can kind of match them, or are the Tigers just going to be the Tigers and just find a way to win?
Well, let's go back to the last highlight. Shelby, not able to really get a run game going. But Mansfield Senior might be in the same boat. They can sling the ball. They can make big plays. But like you said, if they get up against a couple good corners, they're going to have to get that run game going. But that's something that can be. It's only week 3. Now this team, I think they can come along just like Shelby. I think both squads, they can get that going. They can get the right offensive scheme in there for a run. But it's going to take some time. But Mansfield Senior has it because, like I just said, I think they're going to make the playoffs with that win. I think they've done enough already.
In the postseason, week 4 still on the way,
got 7 games. You still got an OCC to
that?
win, and you still undefeated. You never know.
Good times right now in Tiger Country. All right, that's all the highlights that we have for you boys and girls out there up way past your bedtime. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we're going to tell you what we're doing next week here on the OH Report. Tons of games again on the way. It's going to be a loaded schedule for us. Find out who we got on the coverage right after this.
Headquartered in Valley City, Ohio, MTD Products is a leader in the outdoor power equipment industry. We create products that help consumers build memories. Whether it's inspiring people to care for a public garden or enjoy their backyard with family and friends, community is at the heart of what we do at MTD Products. We are looking for people who want to be a part of our future and who are dedicated to cutting-edge product innovation and outstanding customer service. We'll provide you with the necessary tools for success in your career at MTD and help inspire people to care for and enjoy the outdoors around the world.
Wrapping things up here on the Pigskin, and I got my boys here, got my back. Everybody that went out into the field tonight and helped get some killer highlights. Appreciate our newest member of the team, Dalen Goff, going all the way to Canton to get that great Tigers footage. And you said to me that it was maybe the best high school football game you ever seen, right?
Yeah, most definitely. The way that Mansfield Senior was able to fight back in the second half after struggling through the whole first half, it was an incredible game, the whole game.
And that's just week 3, folks. Wait till you see what we have in store for you in week 4. Here's the games coming up on our loaded menu, including the Centerburg Trojans back in action, we hope, taking on the East Knox Bulldogs in what could decide a K-MAC championship, the defending champs versus the Bulldogs.
What about my Golden Knights? They're undefeated.
Well, I said what could be,
Okay,
Travis.
okay.
And what about the game tomorrow?
Yeah, that too.
East Knox got to play on Saturday.
That's a good point. We will be over at Ashland Community Stadium where East Knox is going to take on the Crestview Cougars. That's tomorrow. This is next week. How about the next game? The Clear Fork Colts return home. They're going to be taking on Bellevue, a team that just got a big windstorm. How do you think the Colts are going to fare against the big bad Redmond?
Well, the last time I made a prediction against Bellevue, I ate my words, so I got Bellevue in this one.
All right, so Redmond probably going to get a win on the road, according to Storm. We'll find out if he's got to eat more humble
And
pie.
now he's going to get comments about Clear Fork fans.
The Tigers and Knights, oh my, this is going to be a good one, folks. Make sure that you get locked and loaded. We're teaming up with WMAN. Eric Will, Aaron Hines are going to be on the call over at Arlen Field for, am I allowed to say it for this one? What could be a championship game in the conference.
Mansfield, get out to the game. Eric Will said it earlier. This is going to be a big one. Week 4, this is a big test for the Mansfield Senior Tigers. They passed the test tonight after being down 17-7. Let's see if they can bounce back and go against a big West Home squad with a big running attack. And I keep using the word big.
It's a big night here for Travis. Big league party. How about that? All right. Our next game on the platter for you folks, the Winford Royals taking on Bucyrus, little cross-city rivalry. And the Royals, I don't want to misspeak, but I think they've won 25 straight in this. Could it be the year for the Redmen? Could it?
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll find out. All right, and just one more game. Upper Sandusky going to be at home. The Mohawk Warriors going to take them on. We'll see if the Rams can bounce back. G-Man, you've seen them get kind of clobbered a bit tonight by the Galion Tigers. What are your expectations when they take on Mohawk?
Yeah, Brian. Galion handled Upper Sandusky pretty well, but they did play pretty well in the first half. It was only a 10-point game at the end of the first, after the end of the first two quarters. So Mohawk has had a few good wins this season, though. So it's going to be a nice rivalry. It's going to be who's going to be able to come out on that one unscathed. I got Mohawk in this one.
Okay, that's obviously just going to be a highlight for you folks next week. And is that the last one that we have on the menu? So we're also going to have a couple of more highlights. Where are you going to be, G-Man?
I'm going to be at High C Park. Oh, my bad, Brian. I'm
Galion
going to be
G.
at High C Park to see Galion versus River Valley, the first test for Galion, I believe, this year in the MOAC.
Okay, let's just go ahead and pass this on over. And Storm, where are you going for the Shelby contest?
I will be at Ontario actually, watching the Ontario Warriors take on the Shelby Whippets. So that one should be a good one. Like I said, keeping my predictions to myself. Don't want to get any bricks through my window or anything. So we're just keeping it low key.
Everyone's a winner here on this show, including you for watching. Thanks so much. We're such professionals here, and we'll be back again next week, week 4, on the way. But for now, we're going to wrap things up, right? I don't think it's Friday Night Pigskin anymore. I think it's very well into Saturday. Do watch the East Knox versus Crestview game tonight, though. We'll be there.
We got volleyball too.
Oh, that's right. We're going to be at Crestview twice tomorrow. Crestview taking on who in the V-ball match?
Shelby.
Taking on them, Shelby.
Hayden Gray's going to be on the mic for the first time, so you all tune in, Shelby fans, because your alumnus, Hayden Gray, color commentary with me.
You want to come out, put your face on camera, Hayden? Yeah, let the folks see you. All right, just everyone wave. Bye.